My goal for myself, my clients, and you is to eat the most nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory, and delicious food without feeling deprived. I also want to get in the most bang for my and your buck, especially in today's economy. I love following nutrition science. There's some new research out where they studied which foods have the most nutrients in them. It is definitely not what you think, and I think it's really cool. In today's episode, I'm excited to share with you what the latest study tells us are the top 10 most nutrient-dense foods and a few simple ways to start incorporating them into your weekly meal plan. Like I said, they are not what you think. Welcome to the Therapeutic Food Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Marian Mitchell. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, therapeutic diet expert, and founder of The Road to Living Whole. There are many different diets out there. It's hard to know which one is right for you with your chronic illness and autoimmune disease. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you the foundational pieces every single therapeutic diet out there shares, and also how to use the best one for your particular diagnosis. If you've been looking for a meal planning partner, help navigating the complicated healthcare system, and want to feel better quickly, I'm your girl. Grab your kombucha and notebook. Let's dive in. I've been following nutrition science, listening to many doctors and nutrition scientists debate, and all of this for many, many years, really since 2005 in college. It's always fascinated me. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I have tried pretty much every major dietary lifestyle out there in my own quest for health. What I find interesting is how it seems like there's always something new coming out, and it's always contradicting the thing that came out before. But in reality, they really don't. If you look at studies dating from the 1950s to now, it's actually been fairly consistent. What changes is what the media or influencers decide to make popular or sensationalize. In my early days of learning how to be healthy, I thought that the most nutrient-dense foods were blueberries, red grapes, leafy greens, carrots, cruciferous vegetables, beans, seeds like chia and pumpkin seeds, and whole grains. A new study has come out in Frontier Nutrition on March 7th of 2022 in Nutrition Epidemiology, where it looked at which foods have the most nutrients for the least amount of calories. This is where you will get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, when it comes to what you eat and what you get for it. The study really turns what is commonly thought as the most healthy foods on its head. Here's what it says are the top most nutrient-dense foods, so the top 10 most nutrient-dense foods. They are organ meats, all of them, liver, heart, kidney, spleen, all of them. Small fish with bones like sardines, milk, raw or organic when possible, dark leafy greens, beef, goat, lamb or also known as mutton, bivalves, crustaceans, and eggs. It's not anything like you thought, right? Only one plant group made it, and it's the one that nobody likes to eat. Now, this isn't a surprise to me, and I actually eat all of these. I mean, goat is hard to come by, but, I drink goat milk in small doses and goat cheese and such. So, while this list isn't a surprise, I like that it's been all compiled in the way that it's been studied. Let's talk about why these are the most nutrient-dense foods. They contain the most varied nutrients in the highest amounts for the least amount of calories. And the nutrients in them are bioavailable, which means our body can easily absorb and use them. Other foods, especially edible plants like fruits and vegetables, do still give us nutrients, of course, but they do not contain as high of levels and might not be as bioavailable as the ones on this list. You should definitely still include them in your diet. In fact, in my therapeutic food framework, they will take up half of your plate at every meal. They're important to a healthy diet, no question. It's just that they are not as nutrient dense. Incorporating those 10 foods that we listed into your monthly meal planning is an essential step towards eating healthy, plus saving money on your budget. The more nutrients you get for the least amount of food is always a bonus. Now, let's get to the good part. Let's talk about what it can look like to consume these foods on a regular and consistent basis. This is when you're really going to want to break out your notebook if you didn't break it out earlier. Let's start with the less weird ones. Leafy greens, eggs, beef, and milk. Okay? Most people eat some of these, if not all of them. Leafy greens, salad. You can use them as wraps and as bread replacements in sandwiches. You can put them in smoothies, and you can always add them to sautés. Eggs, just eat more of them if you're not allergic or sensitive. They do not raise LDL cholesterol and will actually help you reach and maintain sufficient amounts of HDL cholesterol. That's considered the good one. Beef, 1 to 2 times per week is great, so enjoy. You do not have to be afraid of it. And milk, if you tolerate it, yogurt, full fat milk, cream, etc. And you really only need 1 to 2 servings. Now, let's get into the ones that are a little bit more weird. Small fish with bones in them, like sardines. Crustaceans, crab, lobster, shrimp, prawns, krill. And bivalves, clams, oysters, mussels, etc. Now, in my family, including all of my extended family, I grew up eating crustaceans and bivalves, and I didn't know people didn't eat them. Now, after coaching and being in the nutrition world for as long as I have, I know that these are actually kind of out there for people. If you're like me, stick with me because I'll be getting to the next group, and that's the one most people look at me like I have 2 heads. All right, let's talk about how to eat this group, small fish with bones. I love canned sardines. I didn't used to. I thought they would be really fishy, and I was just kind of weirded out by the bones, but they are really good for you, and really it's pretty easy to start incorporating them. Instead of a tuna packet, you open up the can and make a tuna salad, but with sardines. And you can make into patties, like salmon patties, but again with sardines. Really simple, easy ways to start incorporating them. A little bit of lemon can kind of help if you don't like the taste of fish. Crustaceans. I feel like these speak for themselves, but a few ideas that come to mind are to put any or all of these in pasta, tacos, or on their own with butter. I mean, yum. And bivalves, paella, clam chowder, clam sauce for pasta. 3 really simple ways to start eating them. Now, for the more rare or most weird ones. Goat, lamb, and organ meats. Goat really isn't available here in the States unless you get it from a small farmer. It has a strong aroma and flavor, while it can be more tough than beef, which in other countries where it's consumed regularly, they season it richly and cook it slowly to get around that. Now, like I said earlier, I've had goat milk and goat cheese, which I can handle in small doses as I'm like lactose intolerant. And if I have too much, it aggravates my psoriasis. But every once in a while, I just want cheese. And goat cheese is where I can get it. And it's, like I said, if I can keep it small, I usually do okay. I don't really have experience with this meat yet, but typically it's made in stews, and I would totally eat it if I was offered it. Lamb. Again, this is one that's still not eaten in huge amounts, but you can find it in most grocery stores. It also has a strong aroma and flavor, but I love it. I use it in a lot of Mediterranean dishes instead of beef. I usually add a lot of basil, oregano, bay leaf, vegetables. I feel like they just complement it well. I actually have a really good recipe I'm going to be adding to my website. So if you're not on the newsletter yet, I would go ahead and join that, because then you can get this recipe and more really great information. Now, organ meats. You really do get the most bang for your buck here. They're like nature's multivitamins. Liver has pretty much everything that we need. Heart gives us CoQ10, which we know as we age, we normally have to start taking. The sweetbreads have peptides that support our thalamus and immune system. The kidneys actually support fertility naturally, and they actually contain a rare amino acid, and I'm totally going to slaughter this because I've never heard it said, ergothioneine, and then folate. Now, I've actually been consuming organ meats for years. My cat is getting ready to step on my keyboard. Okay. I've actually been consuming them for years. Growing up, it was in our Thanksgiving giblet gravy. Several years ago, I started making hidden liver meatballs, and then I would mix ground beef heart into ground beef and make burgers. I just recently ventured into chicken liver pate, another recipe I need to get on the website. And I currently have some chicken hearts and gizzards I'll be cooking up and seeing how they turn out. I currently take adrenals. Animal adrenals they're actually pig adrenals with the hormones removed to help alleviate my adrenal fatigue. And this is just kind of helping me get through the healing process and giving me energy and such. So it's really cool. If the thought of eating organ meats seriously grosses you out, we live in such a time as that you can buy them dried out, ground into a powder, and put into capsules like vitamins. Seriously, you don't even have to taste them to get the benefits. How cool is that? The brand that I am excited to try is Heart and Soil, but there's several brands out there, so just do your research. We in America are the only culture that doesn't consume them. It's really not as weird as you think, but mentally, it's a huge shift. What do you think? You ready to sit down and figure out how to eat more of these foods? Quick review. The top 10 most nutrient-dense foods are organ meats, all of them. Small fish like sardines with the bones, right? Milk, raw and organic, and you can do that when possible. Dark leafy greens, beef, goat, lamb, bivalves, crustaceans, and eggs. If you're like me and you want to see the actual study, go open the show notes. You'll see it linked there. And if you want a bit more guidance on what healthy eating even looks like, you're like, this is like so far out there for you, but you really do want to get going on this path and maybe graduate up to where I am at in my eating journey, then I have a healthy eating guide that you can download that is seriously a great place to start. And if you want someone to show you exactly what you need to eat, in what order, and how to make it work in your life for your health conditions, go ahead and reserve a free discovery call with me. Again, completely free. You and I will meet over Zoom. We'll talk about what you have going on, what your needs are, what your goals are, and I'll share with you all the options I have to help you reach those goals. And if you want to learn cooking tips, get recipes, and get a community of like-minded people going through similar things, go ahead and join the Facebook group. It's an amazing community, and we would love to have you join us. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will meet you here next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you found this episode helpful, would you do me a favor and help others find it by leaving a review, sharing a screenshot on social media, or sharing the link with a friend? By you sharing what you've learned, others are able to find this podcast and join our community. Be sure to check out my website, www.roadtolivinghole.com, for over 160 delicious recipes, a variety of meal plans, and a blog packed full of even more healthy living tips. If you'd like to learn more about how to work with me as your coach, you can schedule a free consult through www.roadtolivinghole.com/health-coaching/. Until next time, friend. Bye.